Folks, time is running out. Kevin McCarthy is now being faced with a big decision. This event could affect the millions of Americans and their finances. Some lawmakers want even Congress to pass a made to programs like Social Security, a bill to help everyone out. House Speaker McCarthy will put his control of the thin Republican majority on the line this week with a bid to pass a bill that slashes spending that is designed to jam with President Biden over the looming government debt crisis. The standoff is deepening between the Republican Speaker and the Democratic President, which could be fateful for the country and both their political careers, and the ability of each side to unify their parties and shape public opinion to avoid or dispense blame will be crucial. The clash is over the need to raise the government's borrowing authority within months, without which the United States would default on its debts in a way that could send the domestic and global economies spiraling and could inflict deep pain. Republicans are seeking to use the situation as leverage to stop Biden's domestic program. The president, as he moves toward making his re-election campaign official as early as this week, says the GOP must not hold the nation hostage to what he says is an extreme agenda. The debt ceiling showdown is important to Biden, as he seeks to protect the legislative achievements of his term so far, and to portray an image of strength and purpose. McCarthy is seeking to unite his party around him to pass a bill that will raise the debt ceiling for a year in exchange for deep spending cuts. The measure would limit growth in government spending to 1% a year, block student loan forgiveness, resigned new funding for the IRS, and introduce tougher work requirements for Medicaid. Even if it makes it out of the House, there's no chance this will pass. The approach is meant to make it look like the public and Biden is being obstructive and should hold the blame for any debt default. The White House has said it won't negotiate over a debt ceiling increase, which is Congress's responsibility, and will only accept a clean proposal to raise the nation's borrowing limit. But the Speaker on Sunday was adamant that Biden will have to climb down from the position as the country races closer to a crisis that could peak during the summer. Even recently, the Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri introduced the Keep Our Promises Act to exempt Social Security and Medicare from the debt ceiling. Social Security and Medicare beneficiaries must be confident that their benefits will be paid in full and on time. Senator Hawley's legislation will ensure these programs are never used as leverage in negotiations over the debt limit. Senator Hawley has said in an official statement, Social Security and Medicare are not bargaining chips. These are promises we made to the people, and we must not break them. The Keep Our Promises Act would first exempt Social Security and Medicare from the statutory debt limit, that it would authorize the Treasury Department when the statutory debt limit is reached. So, it would also permit the Treasury Department to use its authority in all future debt limit episodes, thereby permanently insulating Social Security and Medicare from any impact of a debt ceiling standoff.
Property insurance policies in Florida. So 25% of what they saw coming in from Ian was related to property lines and 75% in auto coverage. And what they've said is that the inflation related to both of these is significantly adding to their costs. We know that house values have skyrocketed in Florida. And so if you're paying someone to replace the loss of their home, the costs are significantly going to increase. Not only that, they're looking at bodily injury costs where it comes to auto insurance increasing as well because of medical inflation. So there you're getting it. They say that the estimated catastrophe losses for just the month of September when Ian happened, $440 million. They are expecting.
Now, everybody, gas prices are beginning to increase again. That's some sad news, but the Democrats and Republicans are now discussing the next steps that will be taken to address the soaring inflation rate. So far, several lawmakers have already proposed a one-time stimulus check for pretty much all Americans, while others have also put forward legislation that would actually give monthly relief checks, but to a more targeted group of people. Now, this may mean some people may be left out of extra financial aid, and also Governor Newsom is criticizing the oil companies who we say are fleecing Californians with gas.
Well, you know what, guys, if your coffee isn't doing the trick this morning, perhaps the sound of stimulus will. We have your attention at home, especially if you live in Maryland, where a recent article on a well-known finance site claims you can expect a fourth stimulus check soon. Well, we'll tell you right away, that's probably not the case. We talked to the Maryland Comptroller's Office and looked into the Maryland Relief Act of 2021, which the article itself cites.
Folks, if you receive monthly benefits, then there are some very important news you have to know. Monthly benefit checks may be announced, dramatically decreasing your monthly stimulus. So as the economy has suffered from the crisis, supply chain problems, and skyrocketing inflation, while the federal government has stepped in multiple times to help Americans through a variety of relief initiatives, including stimulus checks, tax rebates, debt relief, and other programs. According to a recent Go Banking Rate survey, 60% of Americans would still like to see more stimulus money in 2023, and so would so many other people across the nation. Because when the crisis that led to this hardship may be over, financial woes for the people that suffered this will definitely not be over. Because the good news is that there are some programs that provide approved payments of 2022 that will continue to roll into this year. It's also possible that the American economy is going to go into recession. Not really possible, but it definitely will head into recession, and we're already in one. Because on the East Coast, several states have some kind of stimulus that will extend this year. Now, not all of this stimulus comes from bills passed by the Fed. Some are rebates or surplus tax refunds that states are passing along to the residents. Because in the state of Delaware, for instance, resident adults 18 and older who filed their income taxes may have been eligible for a Delaware one-time tax rebate. A one-time tax rebate, folks. And what I mean by this is that in the state of Massachusetts, $3 billion surplus was sent out. It decided to divide that money to its residents in the form of tax rebate and refund. Anybody who filed in 2022 should have received their refund already, but residents who filed their taxes on or before September 15th will begin that money too. And now, no later than September of this year, New Jersey residents can still take advantage of property tax refunds through the Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowner and Resistance Program. Pennsylvania has also given $1,500 while renters can receive $450 if you're a homeowner, and the deadline for 2023 filing is January 31st. Applications for this anchor program need to be filed with the state's Division of Taxation. Pennsylvania has an ongoing program since 1971 that benefits seniors, which is still in effect. They send out a refund of property taxes or paid rent monthly for seniors. The maximum standard rebate is $650, but those eligible for supplemental rebates can receive up to $975. That income limit is $35,000 a year for homeowners and $15,000 a year for renters, though half of Social Security income is excluded. To get the funds, an application is required. It must be filed with the state's Department of Revenue by December 31st, and the state of Virginia already sent eligible taxpayers checks worth up to $500 in the form of one-time bonus tax refunds. But while most checks were mailed out in September, for those who filed at the later end of the application window, it's possible that some checks may still be on the way to check out their monthly benefit checks in some way or form. It has already been almost 3 years since the crisis began. It was a long time ago, but many states have already been making adjustments to the monthly benefits. It has been announced that extra crisis SNAP benefits are coming to an end in 2 months for residents who use the program in Massachusetts. About 630,000 homes in the state have been relying on SNAP since March, and has allowed them to receive the maximum benefits, and that means good stimulus money.
I was able to get not all I needed, but $369 billion put in that bill. And we had, I think the guys were with me, the Congress were with me when I invited